All right, so we want to look at homework 2.4. Which one?
One. I don't understand like the fractions as
Homework
the answer.
2.4, number 1. All right, we're going to do one of these. These are your PRRs. These are how do you find your PRRs. The rule is, guys, it's factors of 3 over factors of 2. So if you write down all the factors of 3 and all the factors of 2, then your PRRs are every single one of those combinations. So it can be 1 over 1, 3 over 1, 1 over 2, and 3 over 2. It's every combination. That's it. That's how you do it. So the factors of last over factors of first, and then we list out all the possibilities. Now, if this 2 weren't here, then those are the only possibilities because they're just over 1. But as soon as you throw in another number in the mix, then you have the possibility of fractions. Right? All right, anybody else? Something from a quiz or homework that I turned back? All right, let's get out practice test 2, and here we go. Number 1, the height of a ball above the ground is given by this equation. Okay, so let's just stop before we go any farther. This is a quadratic, right? An x squared. It has a negative out in front of it. That means if I were going to graph it, which I am not, but if I were, it would be a parabola upside down, correct? And a parabola upside down, obviously every parabola has a vertex, but for a parabola upside down, the vertex is the maximum. Agreed? So when this question says, find the maximum, what it's really saying is find the vertex. All right, that's easy enough. How do we find the vertex? X equals
B
negative b over 2a. So negative b over 2a, which reduces nicely to just 2. So that means my vertex is 2 comma something. How do I find the something? Plug in 2 right here. So 2 squared is 4. So this is negative 16 times 4, which is negative 64. 64 times 2, I'm plugging 2 in, is 128 plus 6. And you'll have a calculator to help you with the arithmetic. And I gotta add all that up. Is that 70? I think that's 70. Now, we talked yesterday or the other day about what these numbers mean. Always in your projectile motion, throwing an object up into the air, the first coordinate of the vertex is your time. So this is 2 seconds. The second coordinate is your feet. So this is 70 feet. All right, every time. First one is seconds, second one's feet. So now we got to answer the question. Find the maximum height of the ball. What's the maximum height of the ball? 70 feet. 70 feet. If the question had said, when does the ball reach its maximum height? Then the answer would be 2 seconds. Right? All right, number 2. If x minus 3 is a factor, they're telling me this problem's gonna have 3 factors, and they're telling me that one of them is x minus 3. They're just telling me that. What am I going to do to find the other 2? Divide, divide, divide. That's what you're gonna do. When in doubt, synthetically divide. Okay? So if I'm gonna divide, what's gonna go in the box? 3. Did we know we were gonna end up with a 0 there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we absolutely knew that because they told us this was a factor. What do I want? What do I care about though? I don't really care about the 0. I knew that was coming. What do I care about? The leftover, what we call the quotient. So that's gonna be x squared plus 4x minus 5. What am I gonna do with that? Factor it. And guess what? When I factor that, isn't that gonna be my other 2 factors? That's gonna be my answer. So x plus 5 minus 1. There is the answer to the question. Your job was to find the other factors. There they are. So how do we do that again? What do we do?
Synthetic division.
We divided. Yeah. Don't we do a lot of dividing? Yeah. So if you're stuck, you know, I don't know what to do, try dividing. Probably that will work for you. All right, what's next? Oh, a division problem.
For those questions, how do we know if there's a squared on it or not?
What do you mean?
Like when we're trying to find the different factors, there was some problems where there was a squared on it.
Well, because you
Or
gotta
they're
repeat.
different.
If this had been x minus 3, then there'd be a squared on that. But you have 3 factors and they're all different, so none of them are squared. Josh?
Sometimes, isn't there times where you have to like guess a number
Yeah, that's when they don't tell you one of the factors.
and you have to get all of
You
them?
have to guess your first one, yep.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah, you're finding all 3 on your own.
Okay, yeah, never mind. So there's a few of those ones.
Yeah, so as long as they give you 1, you're just gonna divide and you're done. But if you don't have any, then you have to guess. All right, so I'm gonna do division here. So what am I gonna put in the box?
One.
It's one of the things.
In the box, I'm gonna put a 1. Now our antenna are up, we're laser focused, because what do we notice here?
It's missing one.
It's missing,
Or 2.
it's missing 1 here and 1 here. So we're gonna have 4, 0, -3, 0, 9, 2. Now that's real easy when I'm standing up here alerting you to that. You have got to pick that up on your own. Okay, anytime you divide. All right, so here we go. Okay, I have no idea how I got 10. No idea. All right, how's that?
What if that's 10? Because mine was.
Oh, this is the 10. That's how I got 10. I was doing it ahead of my thank you. Trying to go too fast. Didn't work. Now do I have it right?
Yeah.
So it says, well, this doesn't say, but on the test, there'll be a blank for quotient and a blank for remainder. So here we go. What's our quotient?
4x to the 4th plus
4x to the 4th
4th, yeah, plus 4x to the 5th plus 4x squared.
plus plain x, and that plain x
Oh, plain x, yeah.
squared.
Squared.
And then plain regular x plus 10.
Yeah. And then the 12 is the.
And you can either put 12 here, or you can put 12 over x minus 1 if you want. It doesn't matter to me one bit, whatever you're comfortable doing. All Alright, now we're gonna write an equation. Okay, so what do we do to write an equation? What do we start with? Start with the parentheses. How many parentheses are there going to be? 3. How do I know there's gonna be 3?
Because there's 3 on that.
There's 3 dots on the x-axis, we call them x-intercepts, there's 3 of them. So, here are my 3 parentheses, and the first one here, I'm just gonna go in order. X plus 2,
Square.
x minus 3, and x minus 5, is that good for my parentheses? Now somebody out there saying squared, 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 look at the picture, there are some squareds. Where do the bounces occur? At -2, so this one right here,
And at 5.
and at 5. So those 2 are squared. You've got to pick up on that, I mean, you've got to put those in before you find your A. Your A won't be right if you don't put those squares in. Okay? So everybody understands that when the picture does this or this, that's a bounce. When it does this, that's not a bounce. Alright, so now what? How do I find my A?
Would you plug everything
I plug something in, what do I plug in?
in? 1 and 6.
So 6 goes in for Y, and 1 goes in for X. Kids, you gotta be looking at that problem saying, what do I do with this 1, 6 point? That's what you do with it. You plug it in to find your A. Alright, so here we go. 1 plus 2 is, squared is, 1 minus 3 is,
2.
1 minus 5
-4.
squared.
16.
Okay, that's gonna be a big number, because now I gotta multiply all these together. So what is that?
-.
288?
Yeah.
And then I divide to get A by itself, that's what I'm looking for. And that reduces, 288 divides by 6. 288. So that's really -1/48 when I reduce my fraction. Again, you're gonna have a calculator. You can divide on the calculator, reduce your fraction.
So that's
Alright,
the
so
answer.
what goes in the answer blank?
Oh, the whole top part with the A.
This whole thing right here. Except instead of A, we're gonna put in -148. That's what goes in the answer blank. The whole equation. Alright, number 5. List the possible rational roots and then find the roots. So, Josh, this is a case where we have our polynomial,
These are hard.
but we don't know any of them, right? So, we don't know any of our factors, so we're gonna have to do the PRRs, just like it says, possible rational roots. Here we go. What are they?
So you take something with 4.
Factors of 4 over, luckily, factors of 1. And since that's a 1,
So
we
it's
won't
yours.
have any fractions because it's everything over 1. So we're just gonna guess now. So what do you think might be a good guess?
So 2.
2? Oh, great guess. Great guess. What if we don't guess so luckily?
Just keep going.
We just keep going, right? It's gonna take, sometimes it takes a couple times, 3 times. But I promise you will have one. I'm not gonna make you do a problem that doesn't have any, you'll get one. So the question said, find the roots. Now the roots are these numbers right here on the x-axis. So one of your roots is 2. Now there's going to be 2 more. Where are they going to come from? This right here, right? So that is x squared plus 4x plus, oh no, wait a second. What do I want to do at this point?
Factor.
I want a factor, but
Because of X.
I don't think it does factor. Try it, think about it. I don't know factors, do you? 2 and 1 won't work. And that's your only option. So what do?
Quadratic.
Quadratic formula. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. A is 1, B is 4, C is 2. Just plug it in. Here we go. What's under there? 16 minus 8, 8. Don't you dare try to cancel anything. Can't cancel. What can we do though?
Reduce all.
We can no.
Right.
We gotta reduce our radical.
You gotta take out the negative because
What's the square root of 8? 2 radical 2? Why is 8 2 radical 2? Because when you break it down, there are 2 2's and an extra 2. Now guys, we can reduce. Now we can simplify. See how all of these are divisible by 2? So what are my other 2 answers? Negative 2 plus or minus root 2. And that's 2 answers there. You can write them separately or you can write them like that, that's fine. Was there a question on the first practice test that we needed to use the quadratic formula for? Yeah, there was. And now there's one on this one. Guess what? There's gonna be one on the third practice test. You're gonna have to be able to do this on test day. So if you're struggling with it, copy it on another sheet of paper and do it again. Okay, number 6, factor and sketch. This looks a lot like the problem we just did. Do I know any of my factors? No, I don't know anything. Could I do PRRs and do all that? Yeah, but I could also factor by grouping. If you're comfortable factoring by grouping, then you can factor this one by grouping. All right, if I don't ask you for the PRRs, if it doesn't say find the PRRs, then it probably factors by grouping, okay? But if you want to do PRRs and go through the process of guessing and dividing, that will work too. I'm going to factor by grouping. What can I take out of the first 2?
X squared.
X squared. What can I take out of the last 2? Negative 4. So then I have my x plus 5, and then I have the things I took out. And what do we know about x squared minus 4?
Squares.
Plus 2 and minus 2?
that's a lot.
Huh?
I said that's a lot easier than
It's a lot easier than guessing and dividing. But guessing and dividing will work. Absolutely, that will work. Okay, so what am I supposed to be doing? Sketching. Here are the factors. Here are the factors. Now I'm gonna sketch it. So how do I go from here to here now? What do I do? I'm gonna put all my x-intercepts on, and I'm gonna label them. I'm gonna label them always. -2 and 2. And this is just a regular old cube, isn't it? There's nothing squared or bouncing or negative or anything weird. So where does it start? At the bottom. And it just connects.
I have a question on number 5. When you said that on the test we're most likely gonna have to use the quadratic formula, is it always gonna be one where you have to guess, or could you have to use the quadratic formula on one that it gives you, the first part, like the first?
No, because, oh, wait a second.
Because like obviously
Yeah,
it could.
it could come out that when you divided, you would need the quadratic formula. Yeah. It's never gonna be a graph question though, because I'm never gonna have you graph those
So
radicals.
then it will be this from. What's that? Okay.
Okay, number 7. All right, another graph. But the good news is it's already factored for you. So you're going to jump straight to the graphing step. And how did we say we started that? What do we do first? Plot the x-intercepts, which are 1 and 3 and -4. All right, is everybody okay with that? Now, the next thing we need to do is figure out how many x's we've got so we know where to start. So how many x's do we have altogether? 5. 5 is odd. Odds do this, they start down here. Evens start up here. Odds start down here. So I know I'm gonna start down here because I have an odd number of x's. I have 5 x's. My degree is 5. What do I do when I hit that -4?
Go through it.
Go through it. And then connect to the next one.
And then
What do I do when I hit the 1?
bounce.
Turn around and go back. That's right, bounce off. What do I do when I hit the 3?
Bounce.
Bounce off. Turn around and go back. And there you go. Pressure varies inversely as volume. So remember, the only 2 kinds of variation we're concerned about, we either have P equals KV or P equals K over V. First thing is pressure, second thing is volume. So first equals K times second, or first equals K over second. That's it. Those are the only 2 options you have. So which is it in this problem?
K over V.
It's this one because that's inverse. So the pressure is 80 and the volume is 16. So we can figure out then that K equals what with 80 times 16?
1,280.
1,280. Okay, on my calculator, just solving for K. Now, that means that K is 1280. So in my formula, K is 1280. So what's the question? Find the pressure when the volume is 40. Is that 32? Yeah. There's no units in here. If there were units, I would put a unit on it. But there's no units in the problem, so it's just going to be 32. consider. Find the PRRs. What are they gonna be in this case?
So plus minus 8, 4, 2, 1.
Yeah, in any order. Order doesn't matter, just get them all up there. Don't forget, it's always over the leading coefficient, which, when that number's 1, it really doesn't make any difference, but like somebody's question earlier today, what if it's not 1? Well, you gotta pay attention to that. Okay, so that's part A. Okay, B, find the factors. Well, I know there's gonna be 3 of them, would you agree with that? Because it's an x cubed problem. So how am I gonna find those? I don't know any of them. So I'll guess. So anybody got an idea? 2? Now you said that pretty confidently. For good reason, I guess it works. What's gonna happen on test day? Jared's not gonna be here to guess for you. You're gonna have to guess on your own, and you might guess wrong, and that's okay. Guess again. You'll have plenty of time. So, what are my factors now? This says 2. In a minute, I'm gonna graph this, because it says I have to sketch it. So, the fact that 2 divided in means that 2 is one of my x-intercepts. What does that mean about my factor though? Because part B says write the factor, x minus 2. Now where are the other 2 factors gonna come from?
The bottom.
They're gonna come from right here, x squared plus 5x plus 4. Does that factor? What does that factor into? Plus 1 plus 4, so these are my other 2 factors, which means my other 2 dots, x-intercepts, are here. Kate? What?
So when it says find the roots, is that why?
The roots are x equals, these are the roots.
So that's why the 2 is still positive, because we used a positive
Because you're
2
saying
in there.
x equals 2, that is a root.
But then the factors
Are the
is, that's why.
parentheses.
So the factors is where we plot, and the roots is what tells us how.
Well, you're actually plotting the zeros, the roots. Roots and zeros are the same thing. So x equals 2, I'm plotting 2. But my factor is x minus 2. Okay, now I have to sketch it. It's a cube, starts down, no bouncing, there it is. A lot of steps to that problem, they're all connected. Everybody okay with that? Okay, cross off number 10. Number 10 is what we do not need to do. All right, and then here we go with number 11. Which are polynomials? If not, why not? So let's do the yeses first. Do we have any yeses? B as in boy, is a yes. All right, do we have any other yeses? C is a yes. C is a yes. Now, some of you look at that radical and automatically think no, but what's the rule with radicals?
There's a number with it.
If there's an X under, then we're a no, but if there's a 5 under, that's fine. So C is a yes. And E is a yes. E has fractions, no one cares. We only care if the fractions are exponents, right? We're gonna be talking about polynomials. Okay, so what's wrong with A? X in the denominator, cannot have it. No X in the denominator. A is a no. What's wrong with D?
X and X.
X under the radical, not allowed.
Wait, you said D?
D is a no. There's an X under the radical. Right, Josh?
Right.
If there was an X in the reciprocal, would it be yes or no?
We need an X in the reciprocal.
Like the above the fraction?
That's called the numerator.
The numerator.
Yeah, an
sorry.
X on top
I
is
don't know why
fine.
I said
An X on top is fine. You cannot have an X in the denominator. You can have an X in the numerator. Okay, so quickly, 4 rules. No X in the denominator, no X under a radical, no fractional exponent, no negative exponent, right? That's what we're zeroing in on. Okay, number 12, write the equation of the linear function. So that's a line. A linear function is literally mx plus b. That's a linear function. All right, so what do I need to figure out? What are my points? My points are 1, 4, and 3, 8. So what do I need to figure out? Slope. My slope is 8 minus 4 over 3 minus 1. Which is 2. 8 minus 4, 3 minus 1. Then what do we do?
You pick a point.
Pick a point, I'll use that one. Y minus 4 equals 2 x minus 1. Y minus 4 equals 2x minus 2. Let's add 4 to both sides. And it looks like my answer is 2x plus 2. Y equals, is that what you got? Don't miss that question, right? That's algebra 1. Don't miss it. All right, now, write the same thing, write the equation. This time it's a quadratic function, which means it's a parabola, right? And I need to have a vertex at 3, 1, and I have to contain the point negative 4, 2. When you build your equation, the vertex numbers are actually in the equation. They're part of the equation. That's how we start. I don't know how to help you do that, other than you need to remember that this is what the vertex form of a parabola looks like. This tells me that my vertex goes 3 units to the right and up 1, which is exactly what I want, right? Over 3, up 1. The vertex, those are the numbers that actually will be in the answer. Now, what do I use that other point for?
Plug in.
Same thing I did before, I'm gonna plug it in and figure out my A. So 2 equals A, negative 4 minus 3 squared plus 1. So in goes 2 for the Y and negative 4 for the X. Make sure you're putting those in the right spot. Now we do the math. What math do we do first? Parentheses. What is negative 4 minus 3? Negative 7. But it's squared,
49.
so it's gonna be 49A. Don't you be adding that 1 in there. It's 49 times A. Now we're trying to figure out what A equals, so we'll need to subtract 1. then we need to divide by 49. So what do I put in the answer blank then? What is my final answer going to be? This right here,
That's that.
but without the A here, instead I'm gonna write 1/49. And that's what goes in the answer blank. Remember, you're finding an equation. Technically, this should be f of x. I'm not gonna count it off if you don't do f of x, but it does say a function, so technically that would be right. Alright, we good? Alright, one more part. Find the vertex, axis of symmetry, and direction of opening. Here we go. Vertex, axis of symmetry, direction of opening, and my equation is this. Okay, this is kind of like our ball up in the air problem. How did we find that vertex?
-6.
Negative b over 2a. So here we go. -6 over 2. So my axis of symmetry is x equals -3. What does that automatically tell me?
Oh, that's the
My vertex is -3, comma. And how do I find that something?
You put in the -3.
So -3 squared. You can use a calculator, but I caution you, make sure you're putting it in correctly. It's probably easier not to use a calculator. -3 squared is 9. 6 times -3 is -18 minus 4. So now you can use a calculator. 9 minus 18 minus 4, is that -13? And which way is it open?
Up.
Up. Okay, one more and the test is over. Y equals 3x squared minus 12x. Same thing, vertex, axis of symmetry, direction of opening. What's our direction of opening? Up, +3, okay, that's done. Now, I did this on the first practice test. I gave you an equation where something was missing. Be careful. Do I have an A? My A is 3. Do I have a B? I do. It's -12. What's missing is this guy right here on the end, but I don't need him in my formula anyway, right? So -b over 2a will be 12 over 6. Did you get 2? X equals 2?
Would our C in that case be 0?
Yeah. We don't need it in this formula, but if we were solving it, we would.
What if we don't have something that we do need, or that won't be the case?
Well, it was on the last practice test, we had to put in 0. B was 0 on the last one. I mean, the first one.
Yeah.
All right, so my vertex is 2, comma. Let's put in 2, here we go. 2 squared is 4 times 3 is 12 minus 24, -12. Is that okay with everybody? All right, so we're not gonna waste time. I want you to think about, we just took the whole test. I want you to think about what we did and what do we need to practice again. We have a few more minutes, we're gonna use them because we're all gonna do well on this test, which is Monday. Because we're all gonna look at this over the weekend. Right, Lucy? All right, so who's got, what do we need to work on? Deshaun, what do we need to work on? What kind of problem? So like which number? From like number 6, okay. Alright, so just give me a minute.
Actually, it's 9.
9.
No, it's because we use that.
Okay guys, I'm getting ready to give you a problem here. These take a minute to create. Alright, so here we go. So here is the question, here's the problem. F of x equals x cubed plus 2x squared minus 11x minus 12. It's a 3-part problem. It says find the PRRs, find the factors, and sketch. Okay? So it's a 3-part. But you can do them whatever order you want. But I think we should start with the PRRs. What are the PRRs for this problem, plus or minus?
12, 2, 3.
4, 3, 2, and 1.
Exactly. Only one. Oh, this is hard. That's a lot of choices.
It's a lot of choices.
You got it. You got it.
Go with
You got it.
4.
4. Yeah, I was thinking 4
4.
too.
All right, I hear some guesses. We're gonna go with 4. I'm gonna come over here with our little room.
Oh,
Let's
no,
see if
my luck.
4
I'll guess
works.
wrong.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's what I'm doing on the homework. I'll do that.
Okay, so, it's showing you,
Oh.
Uh-oh, that's
I
too
feel
big.
really good about 4.
Go 6.
Do 3.
Now 6 would be too big. I think we should do a
Oh, you're
smaller
just doing
number.
this
I
test
think you
like
should go
this.
for
Why? I feel like it's always 2 though.
I feel like it's always 2.
It's a
Oh,
small
oh, wait a minute, I think we got one. Somebody said 3. I think 3
Okay,
works.
never mind.
I would never.
I thought it was right.
Let's go, guys.
Yeah.
Okay? Alright, so now what does that mean? So stop and think about all the things you're doing. You are sketching. So that means you're going to have an x-intercept
Negative. No, positive.
at 3. That's the dot. Which means one of your factors is x minus 3.
Yeah.
I know, so unmathematical. Somebody out there's watching this video and thinking, huh, it's an x-intercept. Okay, now where do I go from here?
X squared plus 5x minus 2.
X squared
Or
plus
plus
5x plus 4, which is,
This is like the same.
could be, I don't know, it's
Oh,
a
no.
different numbers,
Oh,
I
no.
don't know.
4 and
I'm not
1.
complaining.
4 and 1? I know that's not the same problem.
No, it's not. Just that part.
Okay.
This part might matter.
Yeah.
So that means that my other factors are plus 4 and plus 1. And my other dots are at -1 and -4. Did John, you asked about this, are you keeping up with this here? Following along? Now I need to connect the dots. Coming up from the bottom. Just like that. All right, remember our clock is fast, so we have time for one more problem. One more. Quiet.
We work on writing the equation of linear function.
Of a line?
Yeah.
Sure. So we need to write the question, guys, the question will say, write the equation of a linear function. Okay? Linear, there's the key word. Because when somebody says line, you think slope. That is the only time you think about slope. All right, so here are the 2 points. Oh, let me mix it up a little bit, let's say. So my points are 1 comma 7 and 3 comma negative 9. So step 1, find the slope. So the slope will be negative 9 minus 7 over 3 minus 1. So negative 9 minus 7 is negative 16 over 2. I got negative 8. Then I choose a point. So y minus 7 equals negative 8, x minus 1. Distribute, watching my negative very carefully there. So it looks like my answer is negative 8x plus 15. It is supposed to be a function, so I'll put negative x here. And there it is. All right, you go ahead and get your phone to the back of your seat.
I'm not going over.
Tomorrow, we will do our last practice test.